Easter changed my life. Question. If a random person asked you for 5 minutes in which they said they were going to try to change your life for the better, would you give them that 5 minutes? Well, I'm asking. I'm asking because Easter changed my life, and it could change yours. You see, I grew up in a loving but non-Christian home. And I always thought that Christianity and the events of Easter in particular was just a lovely idea. Something that gave a person or certain people a crutch, a hope, an ideal. But certainly no more actually true than my former belief that Santa Claus would come sliding down my chimney on December the 25th. I don't have the time to go into detail, but some serious events caused me to pray to God one day. I should say a God that I really can't say I actually believed in. But within a year of that prayer, a whole series of extraordinary, some might even say miraculous events led me to walking into a church for pretty much the first time. Now, I'm a former policeman and legal advocate. I examined evidence for a living. And soon enough, I decided that I needed to critically examine the claims of Christianity and the events of Easter in particular for myself. Folks, Easter changed my life because the events of Easter are true. Don't believe me? Well, would you believe the consensus of the world's leading experts? Here's 7 statements that the vast majority of professional biblical scholars and historians who have studied these events would not dispute. 1. Jesus of Nazareth lived, preached, and ministered throughout Galilee in the Middle East some 2,000 years ago. 2. He drew great crowds who were both amazed by his teaching and his various acts that were considered miraculous or supernatural. That is, by both his followers and even his enemies considered them supernatural. 3. He was executed by crucifixion right outside the walls of Jerusalem under the authority of Roman prefect Pontius Pilate. 4. After 3 days, his tomb was found to be empty. 5. His disciples and many others on multiple occasions had experiences that they believed to be the physical risen Jesus appearing to them and spending time with them. 6. Shortly after his crucifixion, his followers proclaimed that Jesus had risen from the dead. And they were, without fail, proclaiming this until their deaths, despite suffering extreme persecution and even death themselves for this very claim. 7. Christianity and the person of Jesus Christ has influenced the history of the world in a way that no other movement and no other person ever has. A person, I should say, who was executed in shame and disgrace. How does one account for that? Other than the physical resurrection, no other explanation has ever been offered that plausibly accounts for either the events of Easter or their world-shaping effect. Now here's the crux. What I said before about experts and biblical scholars, I meant including those that are atheists, non-believers, and agnostics, even among them, the vast majority would agree with those 7 statements that I just made. Surprised? Yes, so was I when I first found out. Okay, one last thing. Just give me 2 more minutes. Why does this matter? Well, it means 3 earth-shattering things for your life. Firstly, it means that God exists. This universe and you have a creator. How does Easter show us this? Well, everyone agrees that dead people don't, by natural causes, come back from the dead. No force or power in this universe can do that. Only a force or power that is supernatural, that is a force or power outside, beyond this universe, could do that. If Jesus rose from the dead, then there is a God who has acted in human history, who did it. Secondly, it means Christianity is true. Jesus, like no other, claimed to be divine. For this claim, he was crucified for blasphemy. During his 3-year ministry, he repeatedly predicted that he would be executed and that he would rise again. If he did indeed rise from the dead, then that means firstly that he wasn't mad, but someone who spoke the truth. And secondly, it also means that the God and creator of the universe has publicly and unequivocally vindicated both him and his claims about himself. And thirdly, the resurrection means that there is life after death. Not only have millions of people worldwide now testified to having had a near-death experience, that is, an experience of existing outside their body, even when they were deemed clinically dead. But it also means we have in human history the one person who has talked at length about the reality and nature of that world beyond this one, coming back from it, as Jesus did, to prove both its reality and what he had taught about it. Do you think I'm exaggerating or misleading you? Check it out for yourself. It might just change your life. But ask God to help you to do it. He will. He loves you. He came to meet you in his Son, Jesus Christ, to die for you. One final thing, one last question. What's more important than this? What's more worthy of your time this Easter and beyond than looking into these questions for yourself? And just give me a shout and I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. Happy Easter and God bless.